Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video I'm taking a look at the Raxium Axial Series 9-inch Angel Eye LED headlights with black housings and clear lensings, and LED fog lights fitting 2020 and newer JT Gladiators. If you're looking to overhaul your JT's lighting and front end appearance, then this kit from Raxium is gonna more than have you covered. It will improve your visibility and give your truck a cool, unique style, and it's gonna do it all for a really palatable price too. Unlike our typical headlights, this is actually a kit that includes both new headlights and new fog lights to match. So if you were planning on doing both of these things anyway, this is going to be a great option because you get them all in one convenient box and you know that they're going to look good and work well together. But let's start by taking a look at the headlights in particular. Now we see a lot of different headlights come through the doors here, and they're a super popular modification among Jeep owners. But these ones have always stuck out to me. While the lighting output is much better than stock, of course, what really strikes me about these are the looks, frankly. Inside you get a black housing, making for a cool, stealthy appearance. And if you're going for that fully blacked out look, these are gonna help you achieve that. Now around the outer edge, you get an LED angel eye ring, bringing in that modern, sleek look. Now these rings also double as repeaters for your turn signals, so they'll switch to amber when you switch on the signal, and then back to white the rest of the time. However, my favorite part here is the 4 vertical LED strakes that bookend the main beams, both top and bottom. Now these again are LEDs, and I like them because they align really well with the signature 7-slot grille. Really ties in that classic design element very well, and it just flat out looks cool. Now in the centers, of course, you get new LED projectors for your main and high beams, making for, again, much better light output than what you get from the factory, especially if your truck has the halogen lights in it. Now these are going to cast a brighter, crisper light further down the road and trail, improving your visibility and how easily you can be seen. Now all the necessary electronics are packaged inside too, so there should be no issues with flickering or hyper flashing, making these a pretty easy setup. Also helping out with that extra visibility are the fog lights. Like the headlights, these are also fully LED, making for much more light output than your stock units. And they resemble the headlights stylistically as well. They even keep the Angel Eye theme going. As you can see, they've got an LED ring around the outside as well. So they truly look like a matched set. A nice bonus as opposed to buying these two things separately, trying to get the right light temperature and style to match one another. Instead, you can buy it all in one nice kit that's gonna work really well together. The outer housings of the headlights are constructed from a black aluminum with integrated cooling fins here to keep everything secure and running at a proper temperature. Now out front you get your standard clear polycarbonate lenses over top of those black internal housings and all the LEDs that we were talking about earlier. Now the fog lights also feature LEDs inside and polycarbonate lenses over top. Here you've got an outer aluminum housing to match these, plus the mounting brackets are all ABS plastic. And since these are all LEDs inside, these are gonna have a nice long lifespan. Now everything here is also weather sealed to keep out dirt and moisture and make sure the electronics inside stay nice and safe and dry. Pricing comes in at about $400, and that puts them on the more affordable end of the market for JT headlights. In fact, it's a pretty solid deal if you're after both headlights and fog lights. You're getting much better lighting output and improved looks for a really solid price. You'd probably spend more if you were gonna get headlights and fog lights separately too, and they won't necessarily look exactly right together, whereas these are gonna make for a really nice match set. So if you're a fan of the styling like I am, and you wanna get better lighting output, these are gonna be just your speed. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and they should take you about 2 hours to install. Now while these are mostly plug and play, you are going to need to do a bit of wiring in order to get those daytime running lights and the Angel Eyes in particular working properly, especially for the fog lights. However, it's really just a matter of running power and ground. Everything you need to get it done is included, including some quick Scotch lock connectors and some additional wiring. But enough talk about it here, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process step by step.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, a clip remover tool, wire strippers and crimpers, a swivel adapter, T-taps and male spades, an extension, 7, 8, 10, 16, and 18 millimeter sockets, a T20 Torx socket, 5 millimeter Allen socket, needle nose pliers, and a test light. What's up guys? Today we're installing a headlight and fog light set on our Gladiator, so let's get started. So our first step to uninstalling our factory bumper is to remove our splash guard. It's held in by 8 push clips and 2 8mm bolts. So we'll grab an 8mm socket for our bolts and a clip remover tool for our clips. So our first step is to remove these two 8mm bolts. And now we can remove our push clips. Now coming back up top, right in between our bumper and our grille, we have two more push clips that we have to remove. So once again, I'll grab that clip remover tool and pop these out. Next, we can come behind the bumper on the passenger side. We have to disconnect our connector for our fog lights. So we'll press in back here and disconnect our harness. So now staying on the passenger side, right by where we disconnected our fog light harness, we can remove this 16mm bolt as well as these two 18mm nuts. Now for the top nut, we're gonna leave that threaded on a few threads just to hold everything in place while we work on the other side. So we'll take that 16mm socket to remove our first bolt. And then we'll grab our 18mm socket to remove our two nuts. And then once again up top, we're going to leave it on a few threads just to hold everything in place. Now coming to the inside of our passenger frame rail, we have the same setup with a 16mm bolt and two 18mm nuts. So once again, we'll grab that 16mm socket for the bolt. And then we'll swap out to our 18mm socket for our nuts. And on the inside of our frame rail, we can fully remove both of our nuts since we have that one supporting the weight on the other side. And then we can slide our bracket out of the way. And once we're done with the passenger side, we can repeat those same steps on the driver's side. So now we can go ahead and remove our two nuts that we have left supporting the bumper and fully remove it. So now with our bumper and fog lights removed, we can remove our headlights. We're gonna have to pop out our grille. We have a few push clips on the top of our grille that we'll grab a clip remover tool to pop out. So now we'll take that clip remover tool and pop out all of our push clips. And now with all of those clips removed, we can pull straight back on the grille to remove it. Now we can take a 10mm socket and remove the 3 bolts holding in our headlight. Then we can remove our headlight, push in the black tab on the connector, and remove it. And now you can do that same thing on the other side. So now we're ready to mount our fog light into our front bumper, so we're going to be reusing those factory T20 Torx screws to mount them in. So now we can drop that fog light into place, and then we'll take our 3 screws and thread those in. And then we'll take our T20 Torx socket to tighten these down. Then you can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can connect our fog light harness to our fog light. Now these two spade connectors coming off of our connector, we're gonna wanna run out the top here, and then we can put our cover on. We'll clip that push clip into the cover first, and then lay it down, making sure our two connectors are sticking out here. And then we can reinstall all of our screws. Then we'll take our 7mm socket to tighten all of these down. Now you can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can get our wiring set up. For each headlight and fog light, we have a yellow and a white wire. We're gonna have to run each side's white wire and yellow wire together, and then use a male spade connector to connect them. We're gonna be using T-taps on our body harness side to connect it to our daytime running lights as well as our turn signal. So we'll take our 2 white wires and 2 yellow wires per side and splice those together. So now we'll start with our 2 white wires. We'll take a wire stripper to strip back some lead. And then we'll take these and twist those together. And then we can slide our male spade connector on and take wire crimpers to crimp that down. And then we can come over and do the same thing for our 2 yellow wires. Twist those together. Slide our connector on. And crimp those down. And now you can do that same thing for the other set of wires. So now we're ready to install our headlight. We have our 2 yellow and white wires. We're going to be connecting them to our connectors here. So yellow goes to yellow, white goes to white. And then we can slide those wires down behind our fender liner, and then we'll plug in our connector. And then we can slide our headlight into place. And then we'll take the included Allen head screws with a flat washer to thread into the holes. And now we'll take a 5mm Allen socket to tighten these all down. And now once you have your headlight installed on one side, you can do the same thing on the other side. So now that we have our headlights installed, we can set up our wiring. We're gonna have to wire our turn signal and daytime running lights into our fender lights. So we're gonna have to remove a couple push clips and a 10mm bolt to peel back our fender liner to make our connections. So now we'll grab our clip remover tool to pop out the 2 clips. There's one right back here above the body mount. Ours is missing. And then there's one right up here behind the side marker light. We'll get our tool in behind it and pop it out. And then we can take a 10mm socket to remove this 10mm bolt. And now with those removed, we can peel back on our fender liner to expose our wires. Now we're going to be adding T-taps to these wires to make our connections. We already have some on here from previous installs. But the way you're going to set this up is there's a metal fork in here that you're going to put around the wire. And then once you close this up, it'll cut into that wire to make the connection. And then you can just use a pair of pliers to crimp down on this. Now, our male spades that we added are going to slide right into there to make our connection. So now we can grab a test light to poke into our wires to figure out which is which. I've got our daytime running light turned on so we can poke into our T-taps. The white with the green wire doesn't light up, but the white with the brown strip does light up. So that's going to be our daytime running light. And then I've got a buddy inside to hit the hazards. And then when we poke into the white with the green strip, our test light's flashing, so we know that's our turn signal. So you can shut those off. And then we can grab our yellow wire, is going to be for the turn signal. So we'll put that into the white and green. And then you can turn those DRLs off. And then we can plug our white wire into the white wire with the brown strip. And then we'll just tuck those away and we can reinstall our fender liner. And now with our wires tucked, we can reinstall our push clip and our bolt. Now once again, you are going to have another clip. It's back by the body mount. Ours is missing. Then we'll grab our 10mm socket to tighten down our bolt. And then you can do that same thing on the other side. So now we're ready to reinstall our front bumper. I've got a buddy here to help me out with the other side. We're going to slide our studs through the frame horns, and then we have our reinforcement brackets that will slide over the studs before we put the nuts on, and then a bolt that goes into the frame rail. So now we can go to the back side of the bumper and tighten down those 4 nuts first, and then we can tighten down the bolts going into our support brackets. So we'll grab an 18mm socket for the nuts. And now we can switch to our 16mm socket to tighten down our 2 side bolts. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Now once we have our bumper fully mounted up, we can reconnect our fog light harness. And now we'll go make our 2 connections from our T-tap to our fog lights. And now we're just going to connect our yellow wire to our green wire and our white wire to our blue wire. And then we'll tuck that behind our fender liner. Next, we can reinstall our trim piece at the top of the bumper. We have 2 push clips on the frame rails and a bunch that run along this inside lip. Now the ones on the lip we're missing, but we have the 2 for our frame. Next, we can reinstall our splash guard. We've got a bunch of clips at the front that are going into our bumper, and then a couple screws at the back that are going into these 2 clips. And then we can reinstall our 2 screws. And then we'll take an 8mm socket to tighten these down. Next, we can line up our clips and reinstall our grill. And now we can reinstall those 6 push clips at the top of the grill. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Raxium Axial Series 9-inch Angel Eye LED headlights and LED fog lights with black housing and clear lens for your 2020 and newer Jeep Gladiator JT. Thank you for watching, and for all things Gladiator, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.